to come and share this part of her life, but she's also the perfect person to share what's been going on in her own life and the journey that she and her son, her daughter and her husband and all the children you take care of, and all the people in her life. And this is a scary thing to do, to come and talk in front of people. How many of you are glad you're there and not here right now? Okay, all right. So Laura and Ron Himes came to our church a few years ago.
What about me?
Turns out that Laura and my wife Stephanie went to high school together. They were in the same classes in high school, and they met here in this community. But it has become so much more than that for her and for her family. And I've asked her to come and share her testimony with us today. But just give her some encouragement, would you?
Hospitals, ER visits. It was never ending. It was a lot to handle all at once. I had a lot of talks with God during this time. I called them my sob sessions. I would just sob to the Lord and ask, really, Lord, the two of us, wasn't one of us enough? We weren't attending church at that time, and I felt very alone. My mom died 1 month after turning 70. By then, I'd gone through treatment and told scans were clear of cancer, and I thought I was back on the road to life. I would have a lot to learn. I took a year off to grieve over my mom. She was one of those larger-than-life kind of people, and she'd become mom and dad when my parents divorced. She was my best friend. It was a huge loss. I got it together and put things in what I'd hoped were perspective. I knew I needed to get back to church, but where? I got the phone book and listed churches that had what I felt were child-based churches. See, church, that really does matter. And one of them was Palmdale United. Palmdale United was the first on the list, and we've been here ever since. I decided I would get my health in order too and began the process of losing over 100 pounds. I really felt I was on the right road. In April of 2010, I went for my annual mammogram. I had another large lump in the other breast and was concerned. The doctor checked it, and another mammogram and they both said I was fine. In November of that year, I went to my old oncologist for a checkup, told him about the lump, and he said he wanted to do another mammogram and go from there. There were changes between the two mammograms. A needle biopsy revealed another breast cancer. A PET scan ensued, which found a lump on my spine as well. A biopsy of that determined that was also cancer. I asked my doctor if that meant I had stage 4 breast cancer. Stumbling on his words, he finally said yes. Devastation, just absolute devastation. Thoughts were burned in my brain of my mom in her last days in hospice. I had a 9-year-old daughter still to raise, an older son and daughter who were just finding their life partners. This couldn't be. Fear quickly began to consume me. We called Pastor Jim. He and Stephanie came in and anointed me with oil and prayed with me. Such comfort. We'd been attending church about 9 months, and we knew some well and others not so well. Just when panic began to set in as to how I was going to do this, take care of treatment, take care of my home, my family, with my husband being gone 13 hours a day, church began planning meals for us. Word spread fast about what was going on with my health. I began to get words of encouragement, hugs, prayers, visits, phone calls, a prayer quilt, little notes, cards, gifts, rides to church for my daughter. And this always still gets me. My best friend's husband called and offered me his bone marrow if I should need it. Who could have expected that? My old quilt teacher offered to complete quilts free of charge, offers of help with housework, to take me to chemo appointments. It was an amazing time. I tried in the beginning to thank everyone, but that soon became impossible. Some people simply brought meals and we were told it was in the fridge. So I'm so thankful today to be standing in front of you and say thank you for all of it from the bottom of my heart. I was told I love you, and I had a hard time with that at first. How could you love me when you didn't know me? In my family, I love yous were saved for momentous occasions, and this love was something unfamiliar to me. A love because we both love Christ, because we are a family and community. Again, I didn't have that growing up from a divorced family. Treatment was decided. I would need a mastectomy, but chemo first to shrink the tumor because it was so large. Then radiation to my spine, then my breast. I completed treatment and had a PET scan, and they found no cancer, so they were preparing to do the mastectomies. I told them to take both the breasts. The plan was to do a double mastectomy and immediate reconstruction of the two breasts with tissue from my stomach, a 12-hour estimated surgery. But before that could happen, the PET scan showed my bowel had an abscess in it from the chemo treatments. Meds didn't get rid of it, so surgery was ordered. 1 week hospital stay, 8 inches of bowel later, tubes down my throat for 3 days, and 2 months recovery, and they rescheduled the double mastectomies. I told my doctor I didn't think I could wake up and see myself without breasts after everything I've been through. Bless his heart, he came up with a plan to put spacers in until healing, and then a later time reconstruction, and perhaps a year. Another week's hospital stay. Came home. Within 2 weeks I began to get sick, and in the meantime, the doctor had called to say the mastectomies had shown cancer cells, and he wanted me to shave off some of my breast muscle. That day I woke up with 103 fever, went to the ER up here and got stabilized, then Ron drove me down to UCLA. I was later told I was almost put in ICU. Luckily, the two doctors went into surgery together. One took out the spacers because the breast had gotten infected, and the other shaved the breast muscle. Another week's hospital stay. Remember I told you about that rain? Wow, it sure did pour on me. In the early days, fear consumed me. The fear of the unknown, fear of death. But you, my church, family, and friends held me up and got me through it. My mantra became, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," from Isaiah 54, verse 17. I've had Facebook for a while now. I have my friends and audience. It's got a bad rap as far as I'm concerned. Many friends are from this church, former churches from all walks of my life. On those really bad days, I called my face down in the dirt days. I got in line and I asked for prayer. I always got responses of love and encouragement. This past June 26th, I had an almost 13-hour reconstruction surgery. I've had scans and they were all clear. I'd gone to another oncologist for a second opinion, and he was wonderful. He said I'm not going to die of stage 4 breast cancer. In fact, he felt I never had it. He said he felt I was in complete remission and wasn't going to die of breast cancer. I was going to die of old age. When I posted this on my Facebook, I had 50 likes to this and 29 comments, all praising God. It occurred to me that because of me, all those people were praising God on Facebook. And I felt the same way when I was going through treatment. I imagined all the people who were praying for me, and I knew there were hundreds. It would always make me smile to think of the Lord hearing my name flooding the gates of heaven because of your prayers. I felt those prayers. I wrapped them around me like the warmest quilt in winter. As you can see, I've changed in so many ways, but that's not the end of the story. More importantly, I've changed inside. My sister-in-law said it best when she said, "Laura, I've known you since you were 14 years old, and I can see a transformation in you, your life, your eyes, your face, your reliance on God." She wasn't the only one. When I opened my umbrella, I found God waiting there. I found the love of others yard, smelled the barbecue, heard the dogs barking. These are the important things. It made me weep with happiness that I was still alive. In the beginning of all this, I had asked God to give me years to my life. And one day I finally realized that God had given me life to my years. I couldn't have done it without you, church, without my husband, family, friends, and most of all, God. My husband told me not long ago that your test is your testimony. And church, this has been my test, my testimony, but it's yours as well. Thank you for being there to remind me that yes, it rains, but the sun